do you believe? I mean, there is a creator behind this universe.
Ah, well, you see, that's my question. My question is, where did God come from? That is my question. Because sort of not being brought up Christian, but going to like an English school, you did nativity play, you did Jesus, you did the usual rubbish. So Jesus is Christmas. He was born.
Yeah.
But for some unknown reason, Christmas Day is on the 25th of December every day, but Easter moves.
Yeah.
So he died on a different day every year, but he was born on the same day. Now the answer to that is something about a lunar calendar.
Yeah, I know.
But if you die on a lunar calendar, you've got to be born on a lunar calendar.
Exactly,
so I'm sceptical. So this is what I've been brought up with.
I'm with you.
So, but
If
everyone goes on about Jesus. He's the Son of God. He's Mary's son. Whatever. But everyone just says God is God. So where did he come from?
Yeah. So I mean, this universe, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus obviously is a secondary sort of thing that we need to discuss.
Yeah.
Before that is there a creator behind this universe?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, without mentioning religion,
Yeah.
okay, from what you know, has this universe always existed, or did it begin to exist?
Well, I believe stuff has to come from somewhere. Whether it was a big bang, whether someone like God created it, I don't know, because my brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But it's like the chicken and the egg, isn't it? One had to come before the other. But we could go on all day. Which one come first?
Exactly. So
I mean, no one's ever proved anything to me, or convinced me that that is not the Big Bang. It was all created by God.
So what I'll say off the bat is, I can't prove that God exists to you, just as much as you can't prove he doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
I can give you reasons for my belief in a creator, and you can do the same. And if and based on those reasons, if it sounds plausible, that's where we stand with it. Because when we say proof, you may be thinking scientific proof. Can I see God? I can't touch, I can't feel him, etc. And the reason why I can't prove God scientifically is because the scientific method. Stay with me here, okay?
Yeah.
The scientific method.
Shut up over there.
I know. Trust me. It's out of our control. The scientific method. That method measures the physical world, what we can see around us, not the metaphysical, what we can't see. For example, our soul.
Right.
Do you believe we have a soul?
Yeah, and I believe your soul's got to go somewhere, even if it goes into another person
Now,
that's born.
if I said to you, prove your soul exists.
You can't.
You can't. You can't see what color it is, what shape it is, what size it is, but you believe it exists because it manifests, i.e. it gives you life.
Yeah.
Okay? So we can see the signs of a creator, i.e. if you look around you, this building had a builder. A painting has a painter. So the creation has a creator. You know, the design has a designer. Okay. So when it comes to the existence of this universe, okay, we believe that it began to exist. So something must have caused it to exist. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay. And that thing which caused it to exist, okay, must itself be something which is uncreated.
Right.
You know when people say, who created God? Where did God come from? Like you asked the question. If I said God came from something else, then you say, well, where did that thing come from? And that will continue for infinity. Okay? That's fine. Oh, they're praying. Okay, that's fine. So that will continue for infinity, and we'd never have anything at the end of it. Okay? Because it's really loud, isn't it? Yeah. So it's a little stall down there. That's all right. We'll ignore it as best as we can. We're out in the public. It's how it is. So, in order for example, I'll give the analogy of a sniper, for example. Okay, he's got the target in his sights. He can't pull the trigger until his senior gives him permission, and that continues for infinity. He'll never pull that trigger. Okay, the fact that we're here means there must be an uncreated being or entity before this, and that thing must have knowledge. It must have power. It must have a will. Okay, that's what we call God.
Well, that's a better explanation than anyone has ever given me.
Yeah, so we haven't mentioned religion. I haven't said this is Islam or anything. I just said rationally the universe began to exist, so there must be a cause behind it. And I said that cause must be uncaused, i.e. itself not have another creator or another creator, because then you'll continue for infinity and we'd never have a universe. You with me? Okay, so essentially you believe in God.
I mean, I'm very sceptical. My mum 18 months ago died. She was very ill and I looked after her. and there was the point that I knew this was it, and I did like the only prayer I know, which is the Lord's Prayer, because we learned it at school. I don't know any other prayers, on the basis that if this is correct, I want her to go to a better place, and if it's not correct, I've got nothing to lose, but I would probably feel really guilty not doing it.
Absolutely. Well, at least these guys have turned up for the noise, please. So essentially, based on that explanation, you can see why we believe, the reasons why we believe in a creator.
Yes.
And does that seem plausible to you, like something you can accept?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, do you also believe that, I mean, since you got to the point of believing in a God, that He would create us, not just leave us without any purpose, or without any guidance, rather?
Well, I hope my mum has gone somewhere nice. That keeps me going, but again, like I say, until I get there, I don't know.
That's the secondary thing about what happens after this life.
Yeah.
But how about us being here? Do you think that God would just make us and not give us the guidance on what to do with our lives, on how to live our life? Or it would make more sense that He created us for a purpose and He gave us guidance on how to live our lives?
Yeah, it would make more sense.
It's like when you go and buy a phone, for example.
Yeah.
You open up that phone, you got your phone, you got your headphones, etc. And what else do you have inside there?
I don't know, so I don't buy phones.
All right. Or you buy a TV, for example.
Yeah.
You get a little manual inside.
Then you chuck away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the manual says how's the best way to use this device.
Yeah.
You don't stick your phone in the microwave, you'll ruin it, etc.
Yeah.
All right. So common sense. So similarly for us, God created us, and He gave us a manual on how to live our lives.
Yeah.
And that's through the messengers and prophets over time who communicate with us, and they had revelation from God.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, why do we believe? So we believe in the original Bible. We believe in the original Torah and the prophets and messengers who came over time.
Yeah.
And we believe the last in that succession is the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Okay.
Over 1,000 years ago, this is when he lived. And the book he revealed to us, or that we have, is the Qur'an.
Right.
Now, what's unique about the Qur'an is that of all the other scriptures, it's the only scripture which hasn't been changed since the day it was revealed.
Okay.
Over 10 million people on the planet at any one given time have memorized it cover to cover in its original language.
That's something.
So that's
impressive.
Okay, so we do this. I mean, our children, our young children, they memorize. Probably maybe from your daughter, you've seen that as well. We memorize the Quran in its original language. I mean, Jesus, peace be upon him, he spoke Aramaic, and there is no Aramaic Bibles. I mean, there's not hard. It's not a tradition that people are memorizing in its original language. Hence why you can have many versions of the Bible now, many different changes and all the rest of it. With the Quran, there's only one Quran.
Right.
On the whole planet, you go anywhere, you ask someone to recite Fatiha, which is the first chapter, they'll all recite the exact same way. Okay, it's a means of preservation. And then if on top of that, I've been doing a lot of talking, feel free to jump in and ask any questions.
I'm following.
Okay, yeah. So if on top of that, if you find that this book, which is over 1,000 years ago, is talking about scientific things which we are finding out in recent times.
Right.
For example, the embryological development inside the womb of the mother.
Right.
Now, no one knew this without a microscope. Like the embryo, the stages at which is at, and it's described in the Quran over 1,000 years ago. And there's many other things, but that one specifically in the scientific facts, there was an anatomist called Keith Moore.
Right.
He writes anatomy books if you go to medical schools. And when he was shown this in the Quran, he accepted Islam because he said this cannot be from a person who can't read and write over 1,000 years ago. He can't know this. It's impossible. Okay, so these are some of the reasons, and then the linguistic miracles and the predictions of the future, etc., which are mentioned inside it, which prove to us that this must be from the Creator Himself, rather than a human being who lives in the desert, who can't read and write. Okay, over 1,000 years ago.
Well, out of everyone, you probably give me more reason to believe there is than there isn't.
Well, you believe in a God. You've just said that you believe
I believe something has to be there, but what?
Absolutely. No, I mean, that thing, you believe that God exists and He created us for a purpose.
Yeah.
And we believe that our purpose is to live our life how He wants us to live it.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
You know, He created us, He said, look, if you want to have a good life in this life that you were here for 50, 60, 70 years, do X, Y, Z, okay? And you will fulfill your purpose in this life, and you'll be rewarded in the hereafter. This is when now we're talking about the hereafter. We believe that there is ultimate justice in the hereafter. That those who you might get away with it in this life, okay, or the punishment might not be suitable for that crime that a person's committed. But on the day of judgment, we believe that God is the most just, that will hold every person accountable, and through His mercy, we will enter into paradise. So we do good deeds in this life, and we'll enter into paradise. We believe there is a good place.
You don't necessarily need to be religious to do good deeds, though, do you?
No doubt. Now there are people who will do good deeds in this life, and they'll be rewarded in this life. i.e. they will live a good life as a result of their good actions.
I mean, we live in a terrible society. People don't even hold doors open for people anymore. It does my head in.
No doubt.
Want to get some hot drinks? Would you like something? I can get you some tea or coffee.
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Sure?
Yes, thank you.
All right.
I'm good.
That's all right. What about you? Coffee?
Fine,
No. Jazakallah, alhamdulillah. So
But we do live in a daft society, don't we? I
Absolutely.
mean, there's so many ignorant people in the world. It's
no,
unbelievable.
look, we believe this life is a test. Okay, this life we've been put here, and of course we'll be tested with blessings, with good things that happen to us, and sometimes, like you said, your mother passed away, etc. These tests to see that how do we respond to these tests? Okay, do we still acknowledge the Creator? If a bad thing happens, doesn't mean that the universe created itself.
No.
Okay,
Yeah. Everything's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Because no one's ever given me the best I've had is God as a being, and I'm like, that's not an answer.
no.
But-
I mean, yeah. So I mean, that's how I would explain why I believe. Like I said, I can't prove to you scientifically that God exists. Why can't I prove that scientifically? It's because it's like me giving you a scale, a weighing scale,
Yeah.
and saying, "Tell me how tall you are."
Yeah.
Can you tell me how tall you are with that scale? Not because you can't measure, because it's the wrong instrument.
Yeah.
So similarly, science measures the physical world. You'll never be able to prove your soul exists and God exists and other metaphysical things because they're outside the physical world. Okay, but I can
when
give
someone dies, you don't see the soul disappear, but you know it's gone because
Exactly.
they become a dead body.
precisely. Even electricity, you can't see the electrons, but you can see the manifestation of those things. So when it comes to the Creator, and we believe these things exist, but why is it that when it comes to God, we have the reason we have almost like a block, like the universe, something bad happens, so there can't be a God behind it. They can't. Is it because our vision of who God is an issue? We believe that a lot of people come with this issue of, well, why do babies die if God exists?
Yeah, he's got a chip on his shoulder.
Why do babies die if God exists?
Yeah, I've said that as well.
Yeah.
Why is there so
Why do
much
bad things? It's called the problem of evil.
If you don't have bad things happen, you wouldn't know good things was happening.
Exactly. You wouldn't know the light without the darkness. Okay. So similarly, these things exist in our lives as a test for us. Okay. And we believe that those children who are innocent, who they die, that they'll go to paradise. So for us, in our short-sightedness, it's a tragedy.
That's got to be comforting to believe that.
Absolutely.
I'll take me out of here for that.
Of course,
because
absolutely.
There are still days where I'm like, I wonder where my mum went, and to be able to believe that is what had happened.
No,
to
we
her,
believe there's a
then-
hereafter, and God will hold us accountable. You know the issue you mentioned about us living in our society and bad things happen, and what about if you're atheist and you're good to people around you? Now there's a horizontal relationship between us and those around us, our neighbours, our family, etc. And then there's a vertical relationship between us and our Creator. If a person lives their whole life being good to those around them, this is great. Of course, they'll be rewarded for that in this life. But if that person not one day acknowledges the one who created them, don't you think? Imagine if I gave you, I don't know, what do you like? If I gave you a whole mountain of chocolate, for example, right? And I'd say, I just want you to call me 5 times a day and just thank me for that.
Yeah.
That dream that's been fulfilled for you, okay?
Yeah.
Is that too much to ask?
No.
Okay. So imagine if I... We have all sorts here. So if I said...
Well, go round.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want that mountain of chocolate, for example, okay,
Yeah.
I want one of your eyes. Would you ever give me your eye for that
No,
chocolate?
you can have anything else but not my eyes.
Yeah. Okay. Now imagine God gave us our eyes and the rest of our bodies and all the other blessings for free. Doesn't He deserve that recognition and gratitude?
Yeah, but then I want to see nothing.
No,
It's my fear of being blind.
Of course.
Anything else?
I'm not asking for your eyes, but I'm saying the point I'm making is God gave us these eyes and He gave us our whole bodies. Remember, you said you wouldn't trade that mountain of chocolate for your eye.
No, you can have me chocolate, but I'll keep my eyes.
Of course, yeah. So He said you'll thank me 5 times a day. That's what, when we were praying, you just saw the guys praying there. That's that gratitude and recognition that He's the one who gave us everything we have. He deserves this. Okay, so this is when it comes to that issue of worship, submission. He deserves that. He gave us everything we had. We were born with nothing. Both of us, we were born with
We'll
nothing.
die with nothing.
Exactly. Okay, and the only thing we take with us is what we've done in this life. This is what we believe, our good deeds that go with us. And the key thing, every Muslim, every person who submits to the belief in a single Creator and worships them will enter into paradise. We believe this, okay? And the key to entering into paradise is testifying that there is no one worthy of worship except God, and that the Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, and all the other messengers are his prophets and messengers. We don't worship the Prophet Muhammad. We never call upon him. We only worship God. In Islam is the only purely monotheistic religion. We only have that direct connection with that God you believe in.
Yeah, more than if you said to me Jesus or anything else, yeah.
We believe in Jesus. We believe in him as a prophet and messenger.
Yeah.
We don't believe in anyone as a child of God. Okay, especially the literal child of God. We believe in everyone as a creation. God created us for a purpose. He sent us messengers to guide us. Okay, and but we only worship him. We only thank him for our blessings. He's the one who gave us everything. He's the one who can take everything away from us. He's the one who's in control of every atom in the universe. Okay, so he deserves this.
I suppose, yeah. So out of everyone, that's the best answer I've had.
So when are you going to become Muslim then? I'll pop the question, but never say never. Okay,
I do say that. I say never say never. Never's a very long time.
It is. So. Yeah. So I would say these things that you've said today. Of course, we don't expect someone to become Muslims. Reflect on them. Reflect on the fact that you've acknowledged that you believe in a creator. You believe we have a purpose in this life, and God wouldn't create us without giving us guidance. Yeah. It wouldn't make sense. He doesn't give us guidance, then he punishes us or rewards us afterwards. Yeah. And we said, well, you never told us how to live our lives. So he gave us guidance. If we follow that guidance, like in any other thing in life, if you go to university and you study, etc., you'll get a qualification at the end of it. If you DOS the whole time, you won't get anything at the end of it. Simple as that.
Nice to people, they'll be nice. But I've always said treat people how you want them to treat you.
Yeah, absolutely. Reciprocate that good bit manners.
Someone to be nice to you, be nice to them.
Yeah. So reflect on these things, and if there are any questions, obviously you can approach your daughter or us or anything like that, and we'll take it from there.